Vox Machina is getting a new set of tabletop miniatures.
Shut up and take my money!
WizKids has announced plans to release a new box set of miniatures featuring Vox Machina, the iconic and beloved heroes from the first campaign of Critical Role. The box set will feature all 8 core members of Vox Machina. That's Vex, Vax, Percy, Keyleth, Grog, Pike, and Scanlan, along with Trinket.
But the bear waits outside.
Based on how the characters look in the miniatures, Vax is wearing his Deathwalker's ward, and Grog has a beard, these miniatures look to take place well into the events of the first campaign. Now, last year, WizKids announced their own line of Critical Role miniatures, with Bell's Hell's miniatures on their way, along with miniatures based on various NPCs and monsters from all 3 Critical Role campaigns. Notably, one big difference is that WizKids miniatures are offered both as pre-painted miniatures and as unpainted miniatures, although at this time, no unpainted miniatures have been announced for Vox Machina. Now, critters won't have to wait too long to get these new Vox Machina miniatures. The set will be released in February 2023.
I'm afraid you'll just have to wait.
I hate waiting.
In other miniatures news, a new Kickstarter ushers in a promise of a new Stormlight Archives tabletop game. This week, Brotherwise Games launched the Kickstarter for a series of miniatures based on characters from the Stormlight Archives, a series of best-selling books by Brandon Sanderson. Now, the Stormlight Archives is an epic fantasy series set in a world buffeted by constant storms. The series itself involves the reformation of the Knights Radiant, a group of knights with magical powers and seriously awesome swords and armor. Now, these miniatures aren't tied to any particular game system, but Brotherwise Games did reveal in an interview with comicbook.com that these miniatures would be compatible with a future Stormlight Archives game they were developing with Sanderson's company Dragonsteel Entertainment. Earlier this year, we asked Sanderson about a Stormlight Archives RPG, and he said that they were, quote-unquote, investigating options about making one, and that it would eventually happen, quote-unquote, someday. He also noted that he had developed several homebrew games during his days as a DM that he would love to hand over to a publisher and turn into a real system. We'll add that Mistborn, another series published by Brandon Sanderson, also has its own tabletop RPG. Moving on, now you can make your Dungeons & Dragons campaign, or any tabletop role-playing game campaign, a little bit weirder with The Weird. Monte Cook Games has launched a crowdfunding campaign for The Weird, a new book that adds thousands of suggestions and prompts to help make your tabletop role-playing game a little bit more unique. The Backer Kit crowdfunding campaign for The Weird launched earlier this week and has already raised over $200,000. Now, this book provides prompts, adventure hooks, and suggestions to make every facet of a tabletop RPG campaign a little bit, well, weirder. Individual chapters are dedicated to NPCs, creatures, places, magic items, gear, spells, abilities, names, appearances, backgrounds, plots, structures, vehicles, and even player characters.
It's a pretty extensive list.
With each chapter providing ideas and prompts for making its subject, whatever that might be, more whimsical and strange. Now, there are 4 different types of weird that are covered in The Weird. There's interesting, whimsical, surprising, and gonzo. For instance, an interesting cat might have bright red fur, while a gonzo cat might cough up tiny robot versions of itself instead of hairballs. One cool thing about The Weird is that it's not intended to work with a single game system. Instead, its suggestions can be slotted into any one-shot or campaign, regardless of the rule system. As of the time of this recording, the campaign for The Weird has already raised over $200,000. Who would win in a fight, Vox Machina or the Knights Radiant? Let us know in the comments section, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Character Sheet.